we have only one user, which is the Salesforce licenses. Okay, and other one I don't think so. This is a system administrator, and other one is the different licenses. This is a work.com license. So when I'm saying the license is also very important. When we are creating any user, what level of access that user needs. If the user need to access the Salesforce application, so that this user should have the Salesforce. You guys restrict until this. Don't explore on the other options now. Okay, if you explore the other options, you will be in confusion. Okay, explore the user license of the Salesforce only. The Salesforce license means what? Whatever we are seeing in these applications, all these applications will be accessed by the Salesforce platform only. Whatever the offerings by the Salesforce, that is called the Salesforce license. Correct? All the applications, all the objects, all the tabs, all the records. Okay. So the profile should be whatever the equivalent profile we have for the our job and responsibility. We have to choose that right profile here. Okay, whether it is a sales profile or support profile or HR profile or manager profile or the developer profile. In a real time, there is the technology specialist and the profiles. There are different levels of roles and responsibility based on their businesses. Okay, the business will decide that what profiles needs to be created. Okay, based on the requirement, we have to customize our profiles and set the right permission, right access to the profile, and create the users under that profile. Okay, understood here up to here? Once you have the profile, and then the next question what you are asking is how you can log in into the system. Correct? You have a two ways of logging into the system. One way is once you create your user, you will receive your username and password, correct, for this email ID. However you did for the first initial time for the activating your developer edition, in the same fashion you will receive one email to your inbox. Once you click on the link, it will ask you to reset your password. Okay, so by using login.salesforce.com and entering this username and password, you can logging into the system. Once you are using this username means he is related to this custom sales user. Am I correct? This username will tell you that which user is that. If I log in with this username, which means that he is into the sales profile user. Okay, so you might asking what you are asking is here I'm not able to see the login access, correct? So to give the login access, what you have to do is once you log in into this user, in your username and password, you have something called the my settings. In the my settings, you have advanced, so you have grant account login access. So grant account login access in the sense your company administrator can access your logins. I can put for 1 year. Okay, this page when we will use is, let's say if we have any issue and we want to deal with the support persons, the salesforce support.com should be able to log in into the system, correct? That is called the grant access. They don't ask you your username and password because that is not a good idea to go, correct? So what they do is they will give a grant access login to the for your administrators. Okay, in the real time if the salesperson is having any issue, what that does is they will ask you, so for this user I'm getting some exceptions. Then what we does is we will ask you for the login access, so they will they will have the login access, they will grant the login. Once they gave this login access at particular time of intervals, okay, what happens is in your users you can see the login access. So now since I'm logged in with the same user, I won't get it. Okay. So okay, Divanshu, so if you received of email with your link, so just click on that and then activate your account by using the username and password, and let me log in. You can log in there. I'll tell you how to set up these things. One thing, I'll change it to my email address. So now I can change my new email address here. Okay, I can continue here. So now I have changed the user. So now my email address will be changed here. Whenever you change your email address, you have to validate your email. Okay, now I'm going to do the reset of my password.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now what I did was I have logged in with a new user, correct? Devu. So here I can have only the limited accessibilities. Okay, because of my custom uh, profile. That will tells me exactly when I logged in with this user, what needs to be accessed by that user. I can define in the custom profile. Okay, so this person, if I'm an administrator, if I want to log in with him, what I have to do is first, this person should give me the grant access by using this settings. In the in this my settings, you have the personal grant account access login. I'm going to give for lifelong. This is a one way, okay, of doing it. So now as an administrator, I can directly log in into this person and then I can view. Okay, if you want to check this settings in a different way, what you have to do is, okay, so I'll tell you in a easiest way. Don't use this one. Okay, in this tab. Okay, so if I go to this users now, see here the login was enabled, correct? Because I have to log in with this person and then give the grant access. Until unless that, you won't see the login. Okay, so this is the one way the administrator can able to log in by himself and then check what is the issue. So for your case, what you have to do is, you have logged in as a system administrator. In this screen, open up the incognito window. Okay, type the login.salesforce.com. Okay, and use this username, then the one which you created newly for the new user for this Salesforce. Okay, type your username and password. See here, now I have logged in as a two different users. This user is the custom sales user and this user is the system administrator user. If you want to check your sharing settings, this is how you have to check. You have to log in a different tabs. One is in the Google and the other one is the in the incognito window. Okay, so if you check in here, you will understand that what accounts you have an access. Now you have all the accesses here. Okay, and as admin also, you might have all the accesses, because the reason is you haven't make the account as a private, correct? Here are the 14 records, and here are the you have the 14 records. Okay. So to make this easy, what I said was the first thing is make organization by default as a private. If you make this sharing settings and organization wide as a private, then only you will get the sharing button. Otherwise, you won't get the sharing button. Correct? So now if you go and see any of these things in here, you won't share this sharing. Even if you have the sharing, you can't do this. Okay? In the latest things you have, but it doesn't really require, because the thing is it's already public read and write. Anyone can able to access these records, right? So what we have to do here is we have to make this account as a private. Once you make this as a private, what happens is, so this is the system administrator, correct? It will take some time now. So in this system administrator, you can view all the accounts, right? So let me see whether this is done or not. So this is done now. So as a system administrator user, I can see all the accounts, correct? Now go back to the another tab. Here I have logged in as a sales user, correct? Now refresh it. All accounts. If I see the all accounts, there is no accounts are displayed here. The reason is this is a private, correct? So go and practice yourself. Once you made this private, how many ways you make a record visible, correct? If I want to make this efforts as a visible to that particular person, I can share this record as a manually, and I have this user, and I can make the read and write for this user. Okay, read only and save. Once I did the share, what happened here is, if I go back to this Devanshu user, this user will now he can able to see this account. Correct? This is how you have to check with the two different users. This is a system administrator user where you can do your customizations and development. This is the user where the actual users will use your applications. Okay. So you have created the one application called the timesheets. Okay. Now what you guys can do is create a one custom profile called employee. Okay. And that employee should have an accessibility to the only the timesheet application. Nothing more. Whatever this all the applications should not be visible to that uh, employee. Okay, only this timesheet should be visible, and the company's employees and the tracks time, these three objects should be visible, only these three. Okay, also the record visibility is whoever is logged in into the system, they can see only their timesheets, no others timesheets. Correct. So if I have 100 employees here, as administrator, I can see the 100 employees here. But when I logged in as a Divanshu should only see his own record. He should not see the other record. So that's why we have to make this employees as a private. Okay. And if it is really required, you can share this with your higher roles. So the role of your employee will have the higher role of managers. Correct. You can assign that to the your managers. So the manager can view your records. So this is the hierarchy. That's how you have to test it out. Understood up to here, or still you want me to explain? Any questions up to here? So you need a lot of practice. I see didn't happening without practicing. So this is the one thing. And someone asked me about the workflows. So first, practice about the workflows first, so that you will understood now. Okay. Even I try to tell 100 times, it doesn't work out, because if you really go and see this, what is mean by workflow rule, and read this everything, okay, how it works and how you can create the workflow rule. So here I could see that Divanshu was created already this rule, right? So if he created means he can understand that, correct? He put the criteria, and he put some conditions, and he created one action called the field update. So if we practice on these all actions based on the scenarios, we could understand that, correct? So actions are not that much difficult here. So that's what I'm saying here. New task is what? So if I want to create a task for one employee, okay, let's say add a new task. Sorry, not the event. I want to create a new event. Okay, the event is, sorry, the task is finish sharing settings. Okay, topic is my task. Due date is by end of the tomorrow. You guys have to complete it. And what is the contact? If you don't have any of the who ID, just leave it up. And the related is a Divanshu, and then send to here, and the not started. If I say save, so now what happens is the upcoming and the word due the task is what? The task for Divanshu is to finish this sharing setting task by tomorrow. If you are not completed yet, as a manager, your manager will take an action. Correct? So that's why the task will be used. So you can create these kind of tasks using your workflow rules automatically. If I say a task, assign to whom I have to assign. Okay, let's say I want to assign to the my my manager, and the subject is what? Okay, as soon as the employee is created, I want to say that finish security training. Sorry, uh, induction, right? Induction training. As soon as the employee is created, I want to assign a task to finish the induction training. And the due date is always right. We have a different due dates. So as soon as the account created, okay, created date plus within a within 2 days, you have to finish your induction training, correct? And task is not yet started, and the priority is high priority because this is a high priority. Okay, if I create the task something like this, what happens is every time when a new record is created, I mean, if you change that rule, based on the rule, it will be trigger and then create a new record in the Salesforce, something like this. Okay, that is one type of action. The other type of action you already see it, that is called the two things we saw yesterday. One thing is email alert. We saw how to do the email alert, and we saw, I mean, the new field update. So these three only we will talk. These outbound messages we won't do that because this is a development which is related to the integration. Correct? So these three things we covered already. And still, if you guys have any questions, let me. You could ask me. Okay. First, understand the concept when it will be used and then where it will be used. As I said again, this will not be used in our new implementation. This is only for your idea. Okay. Done or not? Still you guys have any questions? So someone asked me about the security, I have explained the security. Someone asked me about the rules, I have explained the rules. So if you haven't satisfied, let me know. Okay, so let me.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, the question is, sir, there are only two Salesforce licenses that are available. So if we have created two users and provided those two licenses, then if I am going to freeze that one user, then can I use that Salesforce license and assign to other user?
Yes, so what you have to do is, that's a good question. So you have to make inactive this one, not freeze. Don't freeze it. Freeze is something different. Okay, inactivate it. When you inactivate this user, your license will be revoked. Okay, if you want to create one more user with a one more, the role and profile, you could use that and then activate that user. Okay, you can create any number of users in the system. Okay, but only the thing is active one will be only two. Okay, so if you go to your number of users, how many users are active here? 1 2 3 4 5, right? But all these five is not related to the Salesforce platform license. Correct? This is the integration user, this is a security user, and this is the charter user. Correct? These licenses are different. They can't access this whole application. Only these two people will access this application, because the license what we are using is Salesforce. Okay, so now if you try to create a new user with the Salesforce licenses, you won't see that Salesforce license at all, right? Here, the reason is you have already completed your licenses. If you want to create still, what you have to do is don't inactivate the administrator. If you, it won't be possible. Okay, you have to inactivate the other user. Let's say this user is newly created with a sales custom profile. Make it as an inactive. Okay, and save. If this person is inactive, so technically I may not be logging into the system by using that username and password anymore. If I try to refresh it, it will say this logout, because you are no more associated to this organization. So once you left your organization, so if you are not doing this particular business, what we do is we will inactivate this user in the Salesforce, so that the user will no longer access to that application. Okay, so if the new employee was joined, we will create a new user with that employee. Okay, with the user license of Salesforce. Now you can see the Salesforce license was already enabled. Okay, and create the new employee, new user into the system, and then create the appropriate profile and save. And when you are creating a new user, it will be always active. Okay, you can use that, and then once you are done with that, you can just inactivate that user, so that you can also create a new user with a new uh, profile. Okay, that is how you have to test it out.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Yes, sir, I got it.
Yeah, any other questions? So I'm just looking into a lot of people's this thing. Okay, so I don't see these things was correctly implemented. Okay, as I said, employee, we can be reusable of the contact. Correct? And company, we can reuse of the account. And the timesheet tracker only, we have to create a new object, and the relationships also should be present. The project name is there, hours are 50 hours, and date is this one. For one day you can't create the 50 hours, correct? Technically we are working only 8 days. So if you enter more than 8 hours, so you should throw an error message. Or if you need some except if you really work more than 8 hours, so you need an approvals, correct? So those kind of validations you have to put. So that's why this whole task will be covered entirely. I don't know whether you are entering your timesheets or not. Can anyone just confirm me? Are you using the HR portal to track your timesheets? Any one of you?
Okay.
No. Okay. So if you know, that's fine. So I'll explain you how it works. Okay. So the date is right. So technically, for day means for a day, how many hours are there? We have the only 24 hours, correct? We can't enter more than 24 hours in the hours. That is the one validation we have to put. And also there is one more validation is in the office hours is how many hours? Only 8 hours. We can't enter more than 8 hours in the hours. But if there is an exceptional things, okay, you have to create an one more field called the extra hours worked. If that is true, then it will be allowed up to the 24 hours. Okay. And here also when you are tracking your timesheet, the date should be for a week. Okay. The date should be Monday to Sunday. You have to put like that, you know, Monday, date, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay. Based on those days, you just gone through these options. You have the home. You have the quick find here. If you know the concept called the workflow, type of a workflow. Here you have the workflow rules. Just click on that. If you click on that, it will have all the information here. Read this information first. Okay. So if you want to create a new rule, so this is a new workflow rule, correct? This is a new rule. So as I said earlier, we have to go with the process, not with the workflows. We have to go with the flow builder, but to make understanding of your futures, right? So I just wanted to give you the heads up of the flow, the workflows also. So continue with the workflow. Now you have to set up an object. In which object you are going to set this workflow rule, correct? If you are going to set this workflow rule on your account, or else if you are going to set this into your employee, or else the timesheets. So wherever the object you want, just select that object. Okay. And say next. So enter your rule name here. What automation process you want to make. Okay. So notify, send the email to employee. So this is what I said yesterday, correct? Whenever a new employee is created, so only on the created time I have to send a email so that I can choose only the created. If I want to send, if something was happened in the update also, if I want to do some action, I can select created and every time it's edited. That is called the one more option we have. Okay. And criteria. So criteria is what? Only if the record data is matched with this rule, those records only will be entered into this rule. Okay. My rule is what? If let's say my rule is contact email is not equals to blank. Okay. Is null. If the contact email is not equals to null, then what I have to do is I have to send an email. Okay. Save and next. So in the criteria, you can just mention any of the criteria. So it's not only one criteria. The criteria will be defined by the businesses. Okay. So here my action is what? So I'm going to send an email. So I can choose the action is what? Which action I want to choose now? New email alert. So because I don't have any new alerts until now, so I can create my new email. So new employee. So welcome email to employees. Okay. And you can define your templates. You know the concept of the email templates, correct? Now I'm sending an email to the contact, so I can create one email template with the contact related merging fields and put the content over in the email templates. And once you do this, you have your email templates here, and which users you want to send an email. As I said, I want to send it for the only for the email field, so which is the email field of the contact, correct? And then I can save this. Once I save this, what I said was you have to make it as a done and activate. Without activation of this, your workflow will not be triggered. So activate now. Once you activate, so now the criteria is what? When a new record is created and the employee email is not null, then send an email alert to this particular person, correct? If you try to understand this, the concept, it is easy. A rule will be only when it is created, and if the email is not equals to null, then we are doing an action called the email alert, correct? This is how you can create your email, sorry, the workflow rules. If the workflow rule is active only, it will look for the rules. If it is inactive, it won't count in the organization. Okay, anything, even that is for record type also, users also, any rules also, if it is only active, then it is considered. If it is not active, it won't consider. Okay, so now if I go to create one contact record, uh, with email address of, I'll give this person email address. This is the email address, correct? Which is the email. If the email address is not null, what it does is it will go and check this email. So now I think Devanshu, you might receive the email, correct? Did you receive the email or not?
Yes, sir.
So now as soon as I created a new contact, it will triggering the emails. I'm not doing anything here, correct? The system is at automatically doing. That is called the process automation.
Okay.
Flows, using triggers, using Apex card, Apex logic, everything will be the process automation only. Okay. There are so many options available in the system, but based on our requirement, our need, which one we have to select is the most important thing. If I want to just send out an email, this simple thing workflow is a better, correct? If I want to update my account, if I want to update my account address into my contacts, the workflow will not be support because of the restrictions they have. Okay, if you understand the concept of the workflow, what the workflow do, what are the features it will allow, and then what it doesn't allow. Okay, So that's why I'm trying to say you go and explore the things which is already in the document. So yesterday also I have the say I said the same thing. Workflow will be support only for the single record only, and then it will support only these many actions. Correct? For this simple
Hello,
requirement,
sir.
yes.
Sir, yesterday you just told about annual revenue in hot and cold. Sir, just to tell you one more time.
Okay. So first, you understand the concept of the workflow rule.
Yes,
What is mean? I mean, why the workflow rule exists? What is the use of the workflow rule?
sir, for automation.
For automation? Correct.
Yes, sir.
So what are the things which will be support? What actions it does?
Sir, it does create, update, delete, and trigger also.
Sorry.
Sir, it does create, update, delete, and trigger also.
No.
It can perform.
Workflow will give the only these many actions. It will create a new task. It will do a email alert. It will do a field updates, and it will do a outbound messages. Correct? On the same record.
Yes.
So what I told you yesterday is, if my annual revenue is greater than zero and less than 1 lakh, then my field in account means the same record, right? A single with the same record should be updated with the cold. Rating should be cold. Correct? If I have this scenario, then what you have to do? So now you are updating your field. Correct? You need to update your field. So the update field action will be available in this workflow rule. Correct? So now you have to create a rule where you have to match these rules. Revenue is greater than zero and less than 1 lakh is the rule. Correct? When it is created or edited, means whenever the user can inserting a record or updating a record, you can change the value at any point of time. Correct? So we must understand the criteria. So this is where the concepts are very important. Okay. So I should show you again the same thing with the email also. Okay. If you try to read these things, you could understand. Okay. Try to read as much as you can and try to check what you have the help on these ones so that you could
Excuse me,
understand.
sir.
Yeah.
Sir, just now you showed the formula like if the annual revenue is greater than zero and less than 1 lakh. So what if the total revenue is exactly equals to 1 lakh, or means whatever the limitations we are using, it is exactly to that. Then
See,
can we use that less than equal to?
so you have it different options here. Correct. If you want less than or equals to, you have less or equals to. You want to check even if it is a 1 lakh also, you want to make this field as a cold. What you have is less than or equals to. Correct. If it is, if you enter 1 lakh also, if you want to make this field as a cold, what you have is less or equals to. Correct. What I said was, if it is less than 1 lakh only, so which means if the person enters 99,000 cold, if he is entered 1 lakh, I want to make it as a 1. Correct. So greater than or equals to 1 lakh and less than 2 lakh. If it is greater than or equals to 2 lakh, then it will be a heart. Correct. We have something called
Yes,
this
sir.
less or equals to. Equal also is available here. If you see here, less than is less than or less or equals to. Okay.
Yes, sir.
These two things are very, very important. Evaluation criteria and rule criteria is very, very important. Evaluation criteria is what? When you want trigger this workflow rule, correct? So in this same example, what I'm saying is, if the revenue is either 0 to 2 lakh, anything will be happen at any point of time, correct? User will change at any time, right? So which means that if when it is created or edited, that is the thing which we have to understand. So that is the evaluation criteria and the rule criteria. So rule criteria is what? As we discussed again, so revenue is what? If it is greater than 0 and less than or equals to less than 1 lakh, correct? This is my rule. When it is there, I want to do an action called field update with the rating as a code. This is one rule. The other rule is what? We have to create a one more rule with the revenue is greater than or equals to 1 lakh and less than 2 lakh. Then I have to make this field as a warm. So this is how you have to build in the workflow rules. So what I said was yesterday, this workflow rule is a very long process. If we no need to use it for every use case, based on our requirement, we have to decide which one we have to opt it. Whether this requirement will be easily done with the process builder or the existing workflow rule. Correct? This requirement will be easily done in the process builder, because in a single rule you can do all these things at a once, because this is an enhanced version of the process or the workflow rules, correct? So that's the reason we said we can use the process builders. The process builder will have the a lot of options, not only these actions. There is some other options also available, correct? There is 8 to 9 actions are there. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, so practice your security and access and workflows and process builder. Tomorrow I'll just give you, I will ask you some of the questions out of it. Understood? I don't want to make a confusion on the flow, so I will give you some more time to you guys. Please explore and done with your practice in your organizations. And whatever I gave you, this timesheet application will cover all the administrative part. Okay. Still, you can do your lot of your validation checks here. So still, I don't see you guys have done it or not. So you haven't done it. Okay.
Sir,
Mm-hmm.
sir, you can't. Sir, you share the document of yesterday and today's class.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that. So today I haven't explained you anything, correct? So this is a replica of, repeat of the yesterday's class only. So I'll share with you, with everybody.
Yes, sir.
Yep. So there is a scope of you guys to think and come your own way. Okay. So here, as I said, right, you have a scope to validate your things. So here you can put up validations, correct? And here you didn't created any, so that's why I said just on the day itself I missed some of the very important things also. So you put the timesheet, but where is the relationship between the employee and the timesheet here? Correct? So there should be a relationship between these two objects. The track timesheet, so to whom you are tracking the timesheet? For an employee only, correct? Then where is this employee is related? Nowhere. So this is an employee. So what you did was, so employee should always be master and the timesheet should be the child, because for an employee we can create a timesheet. The timesheet will not be created by the, the timesheet will not have the employees. employee will have the timesheet, right? There is a difference here. So you have to understand what is the parent here. What you did was you create a relationship in the employee itself, correct? uh, See here. So you make, so which means you made a timesheet as a the parent, but in a real time, timesheet is the child of the employee. So which means the relationship should done in the timesheets. I
Excuse
know
me, sir.
that. Yes.
Sir, can you please explain it once again from the scratch that how we have to build this app? In this app, we have made employer and track time sheet as the parent and employer as a child of these two objects.
So let's take, okay, so you go with the three objects, that's fine. Okay, I totally agree. Okay, now you created the employee as a object, right? So you created the three objects here. Three objects. Okay. So now, first, and these are the individual objects now. Correct? Individual objects. Now, how you can relate these three things? Employer should have the employees. Correct? So which means one company will have multiple employees. Am I correct? So
Yes, sir.
when I say multiple in the sense, one to many is a relationship. Okay, one to many. When I say one to many in the sense, one parent and many childrens, right? Is a concept, simple concept. So here one employer. So here one parent is what? Employer. So one employer will have many children. So here, what is the parent here?
Employer.
Parent is employer, and the child is
Employer.
employee. Sorry, I'm putting a condition, but value is nothing changed. Account revenue rating. Just you can check it once again, Tarun. Okay, because you are missing. So did you activated that rule first? The rule is active now. Check that. Okay, it should be active, and the conditions should be matched. If the conditions are not matched, then your rule will not be executed. Okay. Okay. I'm so sorry to to shift this again. So we have the employer employee timesheets. One to many, as I said, one to many is a relationship here. One parent will have the many childrens. Correct. So here the parent is employer and the child is employee. Always, okay, relationship field will be created in child object. Correct? As you all know it, right? So now new field will be created in employee object. Correct? It related to as employer. So the employer will become the parent and employee is the child. So this employer will is building a relationship between employee which is related to the employer. Correct? This relationship will be either lookup or master detail. So you guys know the difference between the lookup relationship or the master relationship, right?
Yes, sir.
Lookup or master detail. So based on our requirement, we can make this thing. So here, so what kind of relationship we can build? It's up to us. Without an employer, we should not have an employee. Correct. So here we can build a master detail relationship. Correct. The reason is, without an, so if the employer is not exist in the system, there is no meaning of employees. Correct. And also, employee always should have a one employer. Without that, there is no meaning of employee. Correct. If there is no company, how you can say that employee? Correct. So it should be always the master detail relationship. The other one is what? The timesheet now. So again, now understand the relationship here. Employee will enter the timesheets. Correct. So which means one employee will have many timesheets. For a month, how many days we have? 30 days. Correct. So which means we will enter the timesheets in a weekly basis. Okay, for every week, Monday to Sunday. So which means day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7. In a week, we have 7 days. So for the 7 days, we will enter the week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. Okay. So we have that kind of, that many records will be exist for an employee. So one employee will have many timesheets. Correct. So here, again, same thing here, right? One to many, one parent to many children. So here, what is the parent here? What is the parent? Employee is the parent, and the children is what? Timesheet is the children, because one employee will have many childrens, many timesheets. Correct. Again, what kind of relationship you have to build, and then where the relationship field will be exist. As said again, always the relationship will be created on the child object. Okay. So now you will create a relationship field in the timesheet with the related to as a employee. So employee is a master here. Okay. So that's how you have to build your relationships. I see a lot of people doesn't did it. So this is how you have to do. Okay. Update your timesheet tracker application once again, and then I'll review once again with all these things. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Understood?
So in timesheet and employee object, we have to use master detail relationship or
Yeah.
lookup relationship.
So what do you think? Which one
Uh,
is most, the
I
opted for you? Which one you
uh,
would recommend?
I think master detail, because if
Mhm.
employee is there, then only we can say that this is the working hour of this
Exactly.
employee of this particular project.
Exactly. So without that employer, this timesheet is nothing. Correct.
Yes.
So we have to enter the master detail relationship. That's correct. So that's how we have to think. See, we have to think our own. Otherwise, if someone will tell you everything, no one will tell you everything. Okay. We have to think our
Yes,
own
sir.
experiences, and we have to put that into the system. That is called the self-learning. Okay. I'm here to give you an options. What options are available in this platform? Correct. So you have to make use of that options, and then try to build the application is what we have to do as a developers. Understood?
Yes. Yes, sir.
I know that still you are interns. Some of you might thinking that it's not like our academics. Correct. So in academics, whatever we have in the books, that is sufficient. But here, the basic things we have to understand. Out of is how many ways we can use the system is our own thinking, and the business will decide that. Okay. So you can just revised all your time. All the people I'm saying, not only one person. Okay. I know that a lot of people didn't did it. Am I correct? If anyone did in this way?
No, sir. We didn't do this way, but as you said, we will do all the changes.
Yes, so you have to do the changes, and also I want you people to implement whatever you have done so far, whatever is completed topics. As I said again, there is a scope for the validation here, correct? And there is the project name should not be the only one value. You should not enter this, so it should be the quick list, correct?
Yes,
So
sir.
the timesheet will be, we have a different timesheets. The timesheet will be a project name, also, you know, code. If we are if you are on the leave, for that leave, the project name will be different, correct? The training, the project name is training. The Salesforce training is a project name. Okay. Development is a one other project name, and the PTO, the personal time off or holiday. Holiday is a one more project name. Correct. So we have a
Yes, sir.
different names. Use in that way. Okay, and make this field as a drop down. Okay, and hours. You know that for a one day it will only the 24 hours. So you should not enter more than 24 hours. Correct. Also, in a real time in offices we will work only 8 hours. Okay, if we are working, if we are working more than that also, you need a special permission from your managers, correct? So that's a different story, I will explain you later, but for now you should not enter more than 8 hours or greater than 24 hours is the validation here, the scope of that validation you have here. Okay, and this should be the drop down, and this tracker name is not really required. You have to make this as the auto number, because each tracker will have the name of the number, correct? Auto number, because that will generate an id. Based on that id only we can search. Okay, you no need to mention this as a name. It should be the auto number. Understood? And these dates, right, we will enter timesheets for a week. Let's assume that I want to enter for a 7 days. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7. Okay, just use that, and just mention for a week. We were tracking the timesheet for a week. Every time we were tracking the timesheet for a week. Okay, so you can just create the that many fields here. That's it. Okay. Yeah. So there is a scope, and also there is a one more scope is what I said again, right? Employees should be private. The reason is, so if in our Agnito organization we have 100 employees. Okay, as administrator I can see all the 100 employees, because the HR will be the person who can see all these 100 employees. But Divanshu can able to access only Divanshu record only, correct? If the person who is assigned with the employee profile, you should be able to access only his record. So what HR does is, they will create a one the sharing settings, and then they will give the access to the only to the respective person. Okay, so that when the Divanshu is logged into the system, he can see his own data only for the time tracker and this one. Okay, so here you can use the private, and then this is the controlled by the parent. That is how you have to build your applications. Okay, I want to see until that. As soon as you enter the timesheets, send an email to the employees. Your timesheet has been successfully completed with these many hours. Okay, you guys are able to understand or not? The date you can keep it as it is. Okay, don't change day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 6. Use the only the date. Okay, but ours should have a value, should be known, and the relationship should be changed. If someone is not yet done, do it. Okay.
Sir, can you
Mm-hmm. Same object. Lookup will be applied for many times. Master relationship will be only one time. Same object you can use multiple times also. So let's take for example, if we have employee. Employee is a master for the time track, right? The track timesheets. And if the same employee wants to become the master for uh, appraisal is the one more entity here. So for every year we will have the appraisals, correct? Appraisal entity, correct? So there also for an employee appraisal also the master detail. So there one object we may act as a multiple master detail relationship, that there is no restrictions on it. Okay.
okay, sir?
Okay, so I want you people needs to understand the concepts whatever I told till now and practice. Okay, and when you are practicing you will have a lot of information on itself. Okay, and you have the help on this page also. Try to use these things. Okay, and you have the video tutorials and useful some of the examples over here also. You can try to explore these options for everything. For every page you will have the help on this page. Okay, so if you go to this help on this page, so you will get a lot of information. Okay guys, uh, understood up to here, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, then we can talk to you tomorrow, but tomorrow also if you are not yet completed this concept, so we can't go move forward. If you guys want me to continue, I can just say my things and then I will
Excuse me,
continue.
sir.
Yeah.
Sir, in the chat box, Karun has posted one query that whatever the changes he has made.
Rule is active, then the next condition is what is the evolution criteria you put? You put the every time edited and record is created and edited means you are inserting or updating. Okay, this is the evolution criteria you have to check. The next thing is rule criteria. What rule you have to put, you put here. Make sure that your record is matching this rule or not. Okay,